Okay, farmers market. Election's been over, what, 2 weeks ago? Anything else somebody I want to talk to?
Not quite 2 weeks, almost.
Almost, and who are you again?
I used to be Jack MacDougall.
You used to be. You used to be the leader of the Green Party. You got slaughtered.
You used to be Jack MacDougall?
Yeah, so now we need a new leader. This leadership convention. Okay,
no,
never mind that.
We'll give it a year at least.
So, what happened? Are you satisfied? You happy?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, really, when you start off a brand new party, I think we did as well as one might expect or hope for, really, for a first go-around. I think for us, getting the candidates that we got was a major accomplishment.
Yeah.
You know, and we had a good message. But this election wasn't about somebody's platform. This election was about saying goodbye to somebody.
Goodbye to somebody. Boy, and a goodbye did he ever have. Have you seen him since?
What?
Have you seen him since?
No.
No. I wonder how he's taking it.
Well, Sean's a class act, I think, in the sense that I don't think he's going to wear any pain on his sleeve. But it still has to hurt, privately and personally. But he's tough. That's the game we're in. You have to be able to take it.
You've been around, Jack, for a long time.
Sure.
You've been around the table, the Frank McKenna.
Yeah.
Who was he surrounded by? We know who he was surrounded by,
well,
but why did he listen to them?
One of the big mistakes he made was recruiting all of Frank's top people, Francis McGuire, Robichaud, you know, and just kind of, and sort of thinking that was somehow some formula that worked and could be reworked again. I think it wasn't. The biggest mistake he made was top-down management without vision. You know, really didn't understand the consequences of some of the decisions he was making, like the ferries.
Is there somebody that could tell him, listen, no, this is not right? Is there somebody around that table, or is Sean runs it with
You get two kinds of leaders. You get a leader that surrounds himself with people who want to obey, and you get a leader who surrounds himself with people to whom he wants to listen. And I think he kind of had a very confusing leadership. He really didn't take charge, and he didn't really know. You can have top-down decisions and still not be in charge. Like, you can be making decisions but not really understanding why you're making them.
Like MB Power.
Yeah.
That same evening that he met with Jean.
Somebody should have told him. I mean, that just seems very rudimentary that he would have understood that would just go right to the heart and soul of New Brunswick. I mean, you would think he understood that because one of his reasons for being elected in the first place, I think, was the defense of NB Power.
Yeah.
So it's like saying, I promised to defend you, and getting elected, and then bang, that's your target.
I seen him that evening that he met with Jean Charest.
Yeah.
And he asked me, Charles, what's your opinion? And I told him, I said, I know a guy next door, he don't get involved in politics, he's on social assistant, and he's scared shitless. I mean, he was scared. And then I said, this is just a couple hours.
Yeah.
So I said, Sean, I don't think so. And sure enough, it just snowballed from there.
Yeah, it was just a complete lack of understanding for the implications of the decision. I think probably big industry wanted it, and some big players, Frank McKenna, Francis McGuire, Mo Robichaud, they all wanted it to take place. And if that small group wants it to take place, and I include in that, there'd be all sorts of big industries.
And of course, he thought in his mind maybe that if the Irvings get a good cut, they will hire more people. Of course, the Irvings will put the money in their pocket.
Well, I think, too, they think they probably would have got good stories in the newspaper.
Excuse me, sir. Hold it. Is there anybody that reads a newspaper?
Well, it's becoming a dying medium. It's still a very treasured way for many people to get the news, but it's definitely not the only way anymore, and it's diminishing. For example, newspapers pile up in your house so much, it's just like a big,
It's good for wood fire.
It's good for wood fire if you burn wood fire. And
Irving paper, that's it. I mean, come on.
Still, I will say this. One of the nicest things to do on a Saturday morning or a weekend morning is get a newspaper and a cup of coffee, and there's something enjoyable about reading and touching the paper.
It used to be, Jack, but now it's not the same. I mean, even the Irving reporters. Look at Matt McCain, when he wrote a bad story on Sean Graham. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
UND. And he got fired by J.D. Irving.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And then they own all the newspapers. Then they had to leave the province, you know, to find a job.
Yeah, it's terrible. No, when you get on the outs in this province, you got to get out.
Look at me. They tried to kick me out of here for a long time, but I'm still a social assistant. But anyway, I'm still here. Okay, now, would it have been a good idea to have the Green Party and the Alliance and the NDP together? Now it's all over. Maybe you would have had maybe one seat.
You know, the trouble with the... okay, first of all, I don't know really what the NDP's message was in this election. It really became a very unusual, very, very right-wing message. It just didn't sound like the NDP at all.
No, I've seen that.
Second, I think one of the things we did, the Green Party, and certainly I wanted to do personally, was talk about issues that we don't talk about in New Brunswick. For example, forestry reform and media reform, and, you know, taxing the refinery, $10 a carbon ton. That would have brought in the province $500 million. Cancel the tax deductions. These are things politicians won't tell you. You know, if we had done that and told the 4-lane highway, we would have balanced our budget this time next year. This time next year, we would have a balanced budget if everything else could stay the same.
Did David ever say no tolls?
I don't know that he ever said no to them, but I think he certainly never said yes to them, that I recall anyway, and I would have been happy if he had of. But he's got his hands tied. I mean, I don't know how...
Hold it. Part one.
Thank you.
There you go. What a way to finish part one.